Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Ridge Runner Garage, where we are working on our 1980 Dodge D100. Whoa! I pretty much hit my head just about every day. I actually read the directions. You know exactly what that smells like. Because it starts when it wants to. So, as in traditional Ridge Runner Garage, we're getting ready to wash this, and it's about to rain. So, seems like I can't get away with washing anything unless it's raining, but that's okay. So far, we got it running. We've got it driving. It needs a couple other things, but today we're actually going to work on getting it cleaned up, get it in the garage, fix what's possibly broken on that shifter, replace some bushings, get it to where it actually can be a nice driving truck. It's really close to that now that it runs really good, but our idea is to save it and put it back on the road. So before we get into washing the truck, pressure washing it, let's talk about what's going on with the paint on this thing. I am not exactly sure, but I can tell the truck has definitely been repainted. Obviously, it's a different color, and maybe house paint, possibly. I'm not sure, but here's what I'm going to do in order to not blow all that paint off there. If I was just to grab the pressure washer and go to town, it's going to take that paint off. But what I'm going to do is I need to degrease the motor anyways. I thought, you know what? Let's grab a sprayer thingy. We got ourselves a weed killer bottle. I'm gonna pump up, put degreaser in. I've done this before and it works really good to get stuff like this off. So here we go. I used to clean my four-wheelers like this after riding in the mud all day long. Wow, look at how green this is. Would you check that out? What a difference a couple hours with a pressure washer made. That looks so much better. So much better. We still got a little bit to do. Obviously the interior, you guys saw that's destroyed. I got a new carpet coming. We're gonna get the seat out. I get that fixed up, but man, went from something that, I don't know, looked like it's been sitting forever, looking terrible, to something that actually looks pretty decent. Look at that. Actually looks really good. Oh my god, look at this thing. This is a cicada. Look at the face on this thing. This is where it looks like one of the characters from Star Wars. It literally looks like a character from Star Wars. Hey guys, so it's another day. I got the Dodge in the garage, and we're gonna tear into the interior in this thing and find out what kind of surprises it has for us, especially what kind of surprises the floor has in store for us. I know the seat looks okay. I've got some interior parts coming for this thing. Let's see what we find. All right, so this is what's left of our interior. Our door panels, which are not easy to come by. I have a few things I'm gonna try to make work on that. I don't know. The seat looks like it's in good shape, other than what's this cover, and underneath it's good, so we're gonna take that back out. I've got another carpet coming. Actually, I got another carpet here, and I need to hopefully get good access to the shifter here, find out why it's so loose. Maybe I can fix it and get rid of all this antenna stuff. So let's start picking some stuff up and get the seat out of it, find out what we've got underneath it. All right, well, I got the seat out in the back and the cover. If I'm honest, smelled like old man BO, as you might imagine. Kind of gross. And this thing in here, which is probably obviously part of this whole antenna deal, so well, that's kind of cool. Don't really know what it does. Oh, look, a new umbrella. Not so keen on the colors. That's going in the garbage. New, very old belt. We can hold on to that. Whatever this might do. That's about it. Just kind of junk from there on out, really. So, squeegee, funnel, reflective or orange vest, and this, whatever that is. It's heavy. All right, let's get the garbage can over here. That windshield leaks. The rear window leaks bad. Everything's soaking wet. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, a little Pringles can toolbox, a knife, 2 Phillips head screwdrivers, and a test light in a Pringles can. Kind of not a bad idea. All right, we are about to see what was underneath that floor. This floor in this truck, it's worse than I thought it was going to be. That size had patch panels that even Pole Barn Garage would be proud of. Had 3 floor mats on each side. This is all the wiring extra wiring that I took out of this truck. All this stuff laying around here is all the wiring I took out of it. Right now, let's see what we've got here. I'm praying it's not too bad. And the big reveal. Well, there's a mat under there. This is like some sort of golf mat type stuff. I don't even know what to call that. And this looks like the original floor mat of the truck. Actually, so this is the original mat in the truck. I actually bought a carpet for this thing, but I'd much rather have this stuff. Whoa. Holy moly. Man, that's bad. You know, and this truck was advertised as no rust. Wow. Advertised as no rust. Look at it. There's virtually no floor in this thing at all. Wow. This is what was under the carpet on the driver's side. Just a bunch of, you know, Home Depot sheet metal ductwork type stuff. And that is what's left of our floor. I'm gonna take a few minutes and vacuum all this stuff up, and maybe we're gonna be looking for a floor pan, or I can patch these together. We'll see, depending on the cost of it. Obviously I didn't budget for a whole lot for this thing, so let me vacuum it up, see how it ends up. Well, okay, so now it's clean. Now we got the carpet out, the mat out, the pieces of this, that, and the other thing out. Let's check it out and see what we've got left. And as you can see, it is pretty bad. Honestly, I crawled into the truck before I got it, saw a little bit was rotted, and it's far, far, far worse than I could have ever imagined, if I'm honest. It's absolutely horrible. The trouble we're gonna have here is, it's a Dodge. Not that that's a bad thing. The trouble is Dodge parts are expensive. They're not, you know, they're not square bodies. They're not C10s. They're not S10s. They're none of that stuff. It's probably not going to be a cheap floor plan. I say that. I haven't even jumped online to see what we've got. Bonus, I guess, is I can get to the shifter now, so at least I can tighten that thing up. So that's good. I don't know. Let me jump online, see if I can see what floor pans go for this thing, and let's make a game plan. Oh, and I will tell you this. I do have a new bumper finally here for this. I did some digging around. LMC truck, they had a bumper for this, $300. So we're definitely going to get a new bumper. They didn't have any grills listed. I'm going to see if I can do some work straightening around this headlight surround if possible. And make another battery box for this side. It's endless. But it's a great truck. It runs really good now. I'm super excited. So I was saying a minute ago about the floor pans. They were actually cheap. I got a set off of eBay for $110, both sides. So for a little bit of motivation for myself for today, because I'm kind of running out of things to do without parts, is take another look at this front bumper on this thing. I know most of you guys have seen it. It looks horrible. Originally, when I looked down on eBay, I found an original replacement bumper and it was $2 grand. Well, LMC, let's open this up, see what kind of fitment problems we have, and get this bumper off and get a new bumper on here. Oh my God. Oh, this bumper's already too hot to touch. And it's been sitting in the sun for 10 minutes. I guess it doesn't help it's 90 degrees out. I'm putting the cart before the horse here, but I wanted a little bit of inspiration. What do you think, guys? Looks a ton better. Yeah, that needed that really bad, especially compared to this old thing, so that's nice. Give you a little bit of inspiration. So it's a night during the week and I'm repairing the emissions on this truck. I don't really know when Dodge started with this. I wanted to say in somewhere in the late 70s they started putting these smog pumps and stuff like that on just about any one of their products, whether it's a V8 or the leaning tower of power that we have here. So we're doing a quick repair job. After I had washed the engine bay and this thing, the smog pump had locked up, so we're going to just repair it by putting it right there. I want to clean this grill up, and as you can see, it is really dented and bent, and I really can't find a replacement for this grill. I mean, there's a few things out there. I haven't really looked super hard, but I think if I can get some of these dents out, it might look pretty good. All right, here we go. Got the grill out. Now, I have to straighten this out. I don't have one of those, bags for hammer and doweling in this, but I've got a chair, and the chair will probably work, right? I don't know. What do you say we try it? So a quick before and after. That's pretty bad. That's the right side. The bumper was kind of bent and stuff over here. Boy, that's, yeah. Let me bang on this for a little while with a hammer, and we'll see how well I can get this straightened out. I don't think I'm crazy for trying this or not, but I can't really find another one of these things. At least local anyways. I looked on eBay, didn't find anything there either. This is one of those little things you get in one of those cheap Harbor Freight, hammer and dolly kits. So I'm going to see if I can straighten this thing out the best I can. Dent's coming out of it. What do you guys think? Threw a little black paint on here, obviously cleaned it up. A little black here. I know it's not shaped perfect anyways, and I know it doesn't look beautiful, but I think it looks a ton better than it did. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think it looks great. And by the way, it doesn't run anymore. I am getting an intermittent signal from the distributor. I messed with this a few times. I got a new pickup coming for that. Right now, I'm still waiting on the floor pans that still aren't here, but I do want to do something about this. Look at how bad, or how big the gap is in this thing, all because this rubber here is just shrank. So I'm just gonna cut this, fold it over. I got new rubber for the rear window and the windshield, because the windshield is in horrible condition as well. So this is actually leaking, probably why the floors are so rotted out in this thing. Instead of pulling the windshield, they just packed, this looks like pipe dope. Why would you? Alright, well, I got the door panels off, and I hate to admit it, as much as I hate to say this, I think I'm gonna throw in the towel on these door panels here. These things are just in terrible condition. At first I was gonna try fixing them, but man, they're just not worth it. And it sucks because It's a nice enough truck. The paint on it's in terrible shape, obviously, but I think it'll still look good cleaned up. But man, I'm gonna have to find another set of these things. These are just, man, they're just too far gone. Well, our floor pan showed up the other day, which is great. These are kind of a cut to fit type of floor pan. They're not like an OE pan. I kind of wanted that just for the reason that they are a little longer and will stretch over into the corners, kind of, because this has rot in a couple weird different places, and I would have to get different parts of the pan to cover it, and I'll have excess material to left over to fix those holes. The more time you take measuring and cutting these pieces in order to fit the floor and the needs that you have, the better off you are. I guess it kind of goes without saying. But one other thing that I gotta do before I start welding these things in or do anything, I better get the gas line out of this thing just to get it up out of the way. And also the driver's side has wires kind of going underneath the floor, so it's worth my time to jack this up. Obviously I don't want to blow myself up. Disconnect these wires and stuff, get these out of the way so I don't have any issues in the future. So go. What do you think? Floor on that side is done. I'm going to I've ground it down a little bit. I'm going to seam seal it, paint it, wait for the seam sealer to show up. This is the proverbial before shot. This floor is really far gone, but we'll be able to get everything we need out of our pan. I'll have to redo this section as well. That is just going to consist of cutting a couple of different pieces out, and what you do is you just use the piece that you cut out as a template on your new piece of steel. So that what we're going to do, that to this side. So this is before, and we'll get to cutting this up, and let's see how it ends up after we're done. And just like that, we've got floors. $100, a little bit of know-how, half a day on a Saturday. Check it out. It looks pretty good. Nice, super solid. I've got to probably just gonna brush this with maybe a wire brush. I'm gonna seam seal all this, brush the seam sealer in, and we're going to do that kill mat, that fake Dynamat stuff, because nobody can afford real Dynamat. Yeah, I think it looks great. Now we got a truck with good solid floors on it. From here on out, I guess what we're gonna do, I'm gonna drop the column down and get the sand in that dashboard. This second can covered great. First one was actually damaged. The nozzle was damaged a little bit when I got it, so I'm assuming that's why it didn't cover very well. This one much better. Figured while I had that out, might as well see if I throw a little color on this dash right here. Well, what do you think? I think it looks a ton better. It is better than it was. I've got that, got the cluster and everything just sitting in there because right now it doesn't run. We're waiting on an ignition part. We have to hook up all these gauges instead because obviously the gauges up there don't work. Typical old Dodge type stuff. Even fogged in a little bit of black on the steering column. Waiting on seam sealer, waiting on Dynamat. Actually, I should say that the Dynamat is here. That's this box the UPS driver dropped off, FedEx driver dropped off. So I guess for now it's a whole day of working in the shop. I am absolutely covered in dirt and rust and everything, and I actually already cleaned myself off once today. So I'm just one of those days where you gotta do it. This is the hard part of working on a car, you know, getting the floors and stuff done. So You know, the other day, I'm doing the floors in this thing. Hot day, sweating to death. You know, and all right, let me back up. So when I took the interior out of this truck, the seat and the seat cover and everything, kind of smelly, you know, like old guy, you know, you might expect that from an old guy that owned an old truck, right? So, what was it, the other day we're putting floors in this thing? And man, I don't know, I thought at first, because I'm cutting up the floors and you know, all that stuff, I'm like, man, still kind of stinks in here, you know, like old BO. Then I realized it wasn't the old owner of this truck that I was smelling. That was me. All right, so exciting. My seam sealer finally showed up. And basically what I'm gonna do is just go along the lines of the floor where I welded it and just spread it out. Oh, it spreads really good. A lot better than I thought it was going to. Apparently I'm using too much of it. It's like trying to spread marshmallow fluff. Probably not the proper way to do this, but it's the way I'm doing it. But I mean, you know, the seams are sealed, right? That's what we're going after. Perfect. I'll just let this stuff dry, maybe wipe off the gas pedal that I got it all on, and my finger because I tore through the glove. Great. Does this stuff come off? I got it on the steering wheel too. Oh God. Okay, well, got the cheap sound mat type stuff. We're gonna get this stuff put down on the floor. And the reason we're doing this, obviously, well, I mean, it's obvious why we're doing this. To keep the sound down, helps with the heat, all that stuff. And, you know, it'll just make it that much of a better driving truck once we get this stuff licked down in here. Now, when I put this mat stuff down, I just peel the back of it off, stuff it up in the corners. I'll overlap it a little bit if I need be, you know, I'll cut some of it. But it's just the cheap stuff off of Amazon. I cannot get the windshield in this by myself. I don't want to break it. So I had to make a phone call. You guys, in a couple minutes, you'll see my buddy Dave here. He's going to stop by tomorrow and help me put the windshield in. So you got to do what you got to do. I'm going to try the rear window on my own, see if I can get that one in because it is flat. Maybe I'll get it, maybe I won't, but I'm going to give it a shot. So anyways, that's where we are so far. It's all about getting it done. Man, super happy that runs again. All right, let's get to getting. Okay, last piece. No special rollers. I didn't end up with doing any. I didn't get any special tools to do this. Literally just took the took the backing off it, stuck it to the floor, overlapped it. Where the bumps were, I made a little slice and overlap the piece, just like that. A little bit of spot there, but one Amazon flavored Dynamat / sound deadening heat whatever installed. Took me 10 minutes. How convenient. I just topped off the coolant. That's nice. Oh yeah, that's great. Why not? Well, seems how the blower doesn't work. I'm guessing we're hooking those things back together, aren't we? Go. You know, the carpet was actually one of the very first things I bought for this truck, because I knew how bad the interior was in it. And of course, they didn't sell one with a floor shed at all. It was not an option. This is just an inexpensive carpet from Rock Auto. I think it was about 130 bucks or so. Got the seat been sitting up in the back of the truck here. I've been wanting to try. I can't wait to do this just to see how dirty this seat is. The seat's in great shape, but it's supposed to be tan. Simple green, it's my go-to. We'll see what happens. Not changing colors quite as fast as I wanted to, but let's just try a brush here. Wow, how dirty that is. Yeah, I'm gonna be a while. What do you think? I mean, it's, you know, it's an old wore out truck, but I think the interior came out pretty decent, especially compared to rotted out holes in the floor and, you know, the dashboard all peeling. It looked super nasty before, so just waiting for my buddy Dave to show up, help me put the windows in this thing. And mirrors were falling off on this thing, so I got a new set of mirrors. So I'm gonna work on putting those on right now, see how they come out. New mirror installed. I feel like I'm growing up. I actually read the directions. I feel like I'm adulting. Oh, and another thing, weather stripping. Also put that down. Man, I am excited on how the interior came out. It looks great. You know what they say, if you squint, you probably need glasses. All right, let's get the other mirror on. All right, well, we were buffing this thing. Enough about that. Something interesting though, my buddy Dave made it here.
Hello.
He looked at how we were putting the windshield in and pretty much told me I was doing it wrong. So he's going to be my savior, help me put this windshield in the correct way, or the way that seems to work. Morning, we're back on the 80 Dodge, and I've got to do stuff today that I really don't love doing, and that is buffing or doing something about the paint in this thing. So you guys saw me wash it, and we are left with a very chalky type of a film that's left on the truck. You guys would have saw earlier in this video, we're not sure what this paint's made of. It lays flat, it's not rolled on, it was sprayed on, but it's obviously coming apart. But I do want to make it a little nicer. So I've been doing a couple experiments on maybe polishing this in a couple different spots. Got our buffer out, got some heavy duty buffing compound. I bought this just because it says True Grit on it, no other reason. I've got glazing wax. I'm sure there's a better way to do this. I am not a professional buffer by any means. Absolutely no means whatsoever, but I'm going to do what I can to polish the paint up on this thing, get it moved around in the garage a few times. Probably won't have, and of course we still got to fix that crack in the frame over there, and I still need to make a battery box, so we'll do that after we get this thing polished up. So I don't know, let's try this out. I don't know how this is going to work, but let's see what we can come up with. If this is any prediction on how the day is going to go, that was literally within the first 2 seconds. Yeah, that's how it's gonna go. Well, I don't know if you guys can see how it looks compared to the door and the fender up there. It's not perfect, but it's actually, what am I talking about? It's far from perfect. It's not even close to really shining, but it has some sort of shine into it, and it is going to look a ton better once we're done buffing this whole thing. It's going to take me a couple hours. I know there's probably a lot of you out there that know a lot more about how to buff a car. I just never, it's just not something I like to do. I'm a mechanic guy, you know. I like to have a welder in my hand, or a ratchet or air tool or something. So, but that being said, once you buff this, in this, all this fingerprints that is getting stained in the paint and all this stuff will be gone, and that's really what I ultimately want to do. So I guess from here out, I'm just going to settle in for a little while, get cleaning this thing up, and just see how it comes out when we're done. Well, it looks no different, doesn't it? I know you guys think I'm crazy, but it actually made a big difference. It took off all those black fingerprints. Anytime you touch this with less than burnt, you know, super clean hands. I haven't done this side yet. I know I showed you guys the crack in that frame, and I need to take care of that. Also, the battery is out of this thing because the battery box is rotted out. I need to find something to fix that. So if you guys watched the last video, you'll see that there is a crack in the frame on this truck. I really don't know why. It looks like where this rivet goes, and it goes up pretty much to the top right there. It doesn't look like it quite gets there. All right, this is it cleaned up, and I am about to turn the welder all the way up and burn that in. All right, well, there you go. You can't tell me that's going anywheres. I welded the frame, I replaced the battery tray. I don't want to pull the truck out, turn it around so I can at least try to polish the paint as best I can on the other side. Well, again, this truck won't start. Every time I put the air cleaner on this thing, it doesn't want to start. I don't know what the deal is. The spark plugs are kind of beat, so I'm gonna have to run to the auto parts store and grab a set of spark plugs. It's got spark, it's getting fuel, they're just black for some reason. And I hit my head just about every day working on cars, just so you know, in case you've got the idea that it's a great idea, and it looks like it's fun working on cars, and you know these guys are having a great time. You do pay the price. You do pay the price. Before I run to the auto parts store, I figure maybe a Band-Aid is probably required. It looks worse than it feels, trust me. Oh. All right, spark plugs are changed. Sewing machine engaged. Was it a waste of time to buff this? Yeah, probably. Sure. Well, let's see if we can figure out how to throw some paint on this bumper. We'll see what we got for paint. Got all kinds of stuff over here, but we saw this. I don't know what it'll look like, but let's give it a shot. And I got my Land Shark box here. Yeah, this looks pretty nice. The wind's kind of blowing it on the truck here, but oh yeah, this looks good. I'm not sure it's the sun, but it is 90 degrees out right now, or the lack of PPE, but you know, my heart's beating a little faster than it should. I think I'm going to improvise on a face mask here. You know, so I don't die. There you go, what do you think? I think it came out pretty nice. All right, almost there. I am still having starting problems with this thing, and it has to do something with not enough spark. The spark, if I use my little, you know, Chinese little light that shows you if you got spark, it's really weak, and I can't figure out if that's my problem or not. I've gotten sick of it enough to where I have pulled the distributor out, and I am going to see if this little pickup here, I have another, oh, the struggle is real. I have another one here. It's set perfect, but I don't really know. I don't know. Maybe it's, I don't know. I don't know what else to do. So I'm gonna replace this piece, and I don't know, cross your fingers, guys, see if this fixes it. It's another day, and the Dodge still will not run. Here's what's going on. The spark plugs are getting wet. Now, yesterday I was messing around with the ignition because it has a really weak spark. I was replacing the little eyelet in the distributor. I bought like a standard brand one off eBay, and the wires were too short. They wouldn't go around the distributor on the inside, and they would hit the tone wheel. So if you ever get your hands on one of those, don't buy one of those. I thought it was going to be fine because it was standard brand, but not so much. Still probably made with chopsticks. Anyways, we have a local parts store here in Charleston called Parks. They have all the old stuff as well as obviously new stuff. They had a distributor for this in stock. I ended up replacing the entire distributor for like $170, which was double the price of a Slant 6 basically. And now I have fantastic spark. Guess what? Still will not start. This has smelled like old gas for a long time. When I had one of the plugs out of this, it was soaked in gas, old smelling gas, and I tried to light it with a lighter and it wouldn't even light. I threw 5 gallons of gas in the fuel tank in the back of this thing. The front one, as you saw in the first video, actually leaks a little bit. So once I figured out, or once I got the fuel gauge working, it's got 3/4 of the tank of fuel, which means it probably has 10 gallons of 7+-year-old gas in it. So right now, I think it's a fuel issue, and I'm going to try to hook something up to this carburetor here. Maybe I have one of these pumps. Everybody calls them clicky-clack pumps or something along those lines. I'm gonna put this in the back by the fuel pump, hook some wiring up to it, and try to pump as much fuel out of this fuel tank as I can. There it goes. All right. You stick some vice grips on this and let this go for a little while. So we don't have smell-o-vision. That being said, but I bet you can guess by the look at this. Look at the color of that fuel. Now, if you ever mess around with old car stuff, you know what that smells like. I thought throwing 5 gallons over the top of it, it would burn it. It will not. You know exactly what that smells like. Well, that is all the fuel we got out of her. That's 2.5 gallons. I actually thought there was more in there. We put 5 gallons in here at one time, so I'm guessing that driving it around, idling it around, I used the 5 gallons I had, and what was at the bottom of the tank is probably why it didn't run. So go get some fresh fuel, throw it in there, let's see what happens. Hello everyone, welcome to the second Get It Running video of our 1980 Dodge. I've got a fresh tank of fuel in it now. I blew out the lines, blew out the carburetor the best I could, probably flooded it. We're gonna, keys on, it's in neutral, I think. And we're going to, well, just gonna bump it first to make sure it is in neutral. It's in neutral. And I'm gonna turn this over and see if I can get it to run again. I do have fresh gasoline there. Hopefully the old stuff is pretty much out of it. And let's see what happens when we throw some fresh gasoline in. Probably too much. I'm wondering if I'm going to have to pull the plugs out of this thing and dry them out. I was hoping that wouldn't be what I'd have to do. We try a little start fluid and see if that does anything for us. Little wire's getting hot. Oh, we got a full fuel filter already. Nice. Alright. We're gonna have butt plugs. Alright. Took the air hose and I blew out 5 of the 6 cylinders. Think she's gonna run? Let's find out. You get in there. All time. Jeez. Yes, sir. There she is, alive. We're gonna run down to the gas station, throw some fuel in this thing, just to top off that rear tank. I'm not really into naming my projects, but I feel like I'm going to name this one the Want To Dodge, because it starts when it wants to. We're not shutting it off at the gas station either. But anyway, well, here we go again. Our vitals are, well, you know, it's a 3.7 slant 6, so we don't have oil pressure. That's pretty typical. It's not really getting very warm. It's been sitting idling in the driveway for a while. I wonder if I rev it up. There's oil pressure there. There you go for a slant 6. It's charging. I don't know if the fuel gauge works, but this is what we got. So anyways, let's get to the gas station and get some gas. See if we make it. We'll make it. What could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? So far, a fairly uneventful jump through the neighborhood. It's a little odd, this thing. First gear is like super, I don't want to say geared really low, but it's geared pretty low. And then second is really high. So good. The tires are square, but they're starting to smooth out. I haven't gotten it up very fast. Probably, I have not gotten it maybe more than like 25, 30 miles an hour. But the speedometer's working great. We're barely moving, and it says we're doing 80. So that's good. That works good. Who cares? Alright, well, we're just leaving the gas station, and for some reason I went to take off and this stalled, started right back up. Got 20 bucks. You know, and it's another funny thing, being that we're down south and this truck even sat in a yard for 7 years, 1980, the parking brake still works. Alright, here we go. I don't know why it stalled. maybe it was me, I don't know. I thought second gear was geared really, really high. I just went to shift into third gear and it's second. Somebody put the rod in upside down, or the arm in upside down. Check it out. First gear, second gear, third gear. Weird. We can fix that, or it might not. I kind of, like being different. Oh. Well, that'll about do it for the Wants to Dodge here. I'm probably gonna, well, no, I'm gonna actually list this thing on Marketplace. I only did this really kind of for the fun and for the video content. You're probably thinking I have a weird idea of what's fun, but anyway, that's it. It seems to run and drive pretty good. It needs things, we tried to drive it to see if the flatness in the tires would drive out of it, and it really hasn't, so it's gonna need tires. They're okay. I mean, there's lots of tread in there, but it's just one more thing. You could spend a ridiculous amount of money, keep working on this truck. The multifunction switch doesn't work, there's just all kinds of little dumb things. The door panels are super expensive, so you're gonna have to find another set at the junkyard or something like that. But anyways, that being said, we're all set with this truck. We've got a couple other projects at work, so do me a favor, if you guys like the content that we are creating here, subscribe to the channel. Very much appreciate it. You make it this far, thank you again. I will see you on the next episode of Ridge Runner Garage.